Our next guest. The USO was founded in 1941 by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt to integrate the efforts of multiple agencies supporting U.S. troops in World War II, and continues to lift the spirits of our service members and their families in more than 130 centers around the world. On a personal note regarding those centers, as a parent, putting one of your children on a plane halfway around the world to join a Navy squadron, knowing that they're very self-reliant and they can make it, but having the reassurance that that USO center is out there if trouble develops, to be there to help. That reassurance is very important, and those centers perform an invaluable service. With us today is the CEO and President of the United Services Organization, a 1975 graduate of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. He earned airborne and ranger qualifications as a U.S. Army infantry officer. He holds a master's in economics from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, and a master's in public administration from the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard. Please give a warm welcome to Sloan Gibson.
Your USO is changing. It's changing because the needs of our troops and their families are changing. Among the troops who need us most these days are in the most remote locations, forward deployed in small units, in the most austere and dangerous conditions. We reach them through our USOs in a box, transportable USO centers that can be deployed on trucks or helicopters to let troops at a forward operating base watch a movie or get on the internet or call home to connect with loved ones. We reach them with USO To Go, delivering the things they ask for: video games, sports equipment, portable DVD players and DVDs, snack foods. We reach them with our mobile electronic gaming system. Picture a large, rugged, picnic cooler-like container with electronic games and a DVD player and a high-definition projector inside. You help us reach them by supporting our Care Package program. Nearly 2 million individual messages of support handed out at airport and mobilization points as troops deploy. Think about this. We have what may be the most married military today at any time since the Civil War. And the cycle of multiple deployments is putting these families under incredible stress. We shortened the distance to home with a private telephone network. In Kuwait, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, troops can connect on the internet, and they have made more than 500,000 free phone calls home just since April. Working with United Through Reading, we make it possible for parents to read books on video for their children, and then we mail the video and the brand new book home to the family. We'll do 50,000 of these recordings this year alone, keeping moms, dads, and children connected. Because deployments are hard on families left behind, we teamed up with Sesame Workshop. Last year, Elmo and his friends took their live show, created just for military families, to more than 40 bases in the U.S., helping kids deal with their parents' deployment. When I had the opportunity to see this show in person, as soon as it started, I made my way to the front of the auditorium so that I could look back up at the audience. What I saw was sheer delight in the faces of those children and the parents that were there too. And in a quiet moment when Elmo asked the kids in the audience, "Are you ever sad when mom or dad are away?" this little chorus of voices responded, "Yeah." Well, I knew we had something very special there. So in just a few weeks, the Sesame Gang begins their Round the World USO tour, to Europe, to the Pacific and the Far East, and then back here to the States, making a difference for our military families. The American Legion knows that more troops are surviving injuries on the battlefield than ever before. That's great news, but there are challenges. Men and women are returning whose lives and the lives of their families are turned upside down. Your USO's reaching out to them. We want to make a difference, and with your help, we're doing just that. The Legion has helped our wounded warriors at the Army Hospital in Landstuhl, Germany. We're there too. Your USO Warrior Center there provides a place for troops recovering from their injuries. You're there with us through Operation Comfort Warriors. You've seen their needs, their families' needs, as recovery from wounds and injuries take place. You're there when and where you need to be, and I thank you for that. You stand with us in the war zones, too. Commander, I know you were there when we took Operation Proper Exit to Iraq just a couple of weeks ago. 6 troopers, all amputees, went back to where they had been wounded, back to achieve some closure around their traumatic experience. They were able to leave, this time, under their own power. You saw the healing, and you brought that message back. Your USO will work with you to support troops and their families wherever they serve, because they serve us all. We'll join you in your ongoing efforts to support mental health counseling for troops who need it without stigma, without threat to their career. We join you in letting the nation know that we cannot sit by while brave warriors struggle with serious emotional problems. Each of us has the responsibility and obligation to find ways to prevent suicide in the military. Finally, I want to thank members of the Legion and the Auxiliary who continue to help us as donors and as volunteers at our centers around the world. You're there to greet troops in Dallas and Atlanta as they come home on R&R, and you're there to extend your gratitude to those going back to war. You give the most precious gift of all, your time, at centers from Florida to Washington State. We need your help even more because your USO is growing. We continue to open new centers in the U.S. Just this past year at Fort Drum, Fort Carson, Fort Bragg, and Fort Benning. Within the next few months, we'll open centers at Fort Riley, Kansas, a second center at Fort Bliss, Texas, a center at Columbia Airport in South Carolina, and Richmond, Virginia. We've just renovated centers in St. Louis and in Houston. And at Dover Air Force Base, we're renovating both of our existing centers there and building an additional center to create a special place for families of the fallen who come to Dover to witness the final return of their loved ones. You may not know that your USO at Dover has supported every dignified transfer for the past 20 years. With more families attending dignified transfers now, we're working with the Air Force and the other services to assist these families at every step of the way as they go from their home to Dover and back. Wherever we are along that route, we want to be there for them. At each of these centers, you stand with us to remind troops that America supports them. Overseas, we're opening or renovating centers. Daegu in Osan, Korea, Futenma in Okinawa, Grafenwehr, Germany, Baghdad and Basra, Iraq, Bagram and Kandahar, Afghanistan, and we've renovated all 3 of our centers in Kuwait. Where we can't open centers, we'll place USOs in a box at forward operating bases in Afghanistan or in other remote locations like Djibouti. Through your support, we let our troops know that America supports them. Your USO is changing because the needs of our troops and families are changing, and because their service and their sacrifice demand that we give them our very best. We could not deliver this message of support without you right there beside us. Thank you all. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for the honor and the privilege of being here with you today. Thank you.